Glad to have you back. We're still live in our Abuja studio, and we are with Charles Odii, the DG of Smeden. Now, let's talk specifically about the innovation and global competitiveness and the place of Nigerian MSMEs in the global market. Most Nigerian products and services are consumed locally and are rarely exported, despite having the required standards that can compete favorably with other, global products.
So we have something called AFCFTA right now, which is Africa's the biggest marketplace. So right now we can export to pretty much all the African countries that have accepted to AFCFTA at zero tariffs, and then we can actually export in Naira and get paid in Naira, right, without looking for dollars. I think it's a phenomenal agreement within the African continent, if you ask me. One of the things that we're doing, and we understand that some of our products do not actually get exported because we have to meet some required standards. We're now helping with our small businesses to standardize their products. We've set up an innovative center for our small businesses here in Abuja, and we're begun to scale it up to other parts of the country. What this means is that our small businesses who want to export, either fashion or textile, like what I'm wearing, made in Nigeria, right? They can come into our Smeden complex. They don't bother about the sewing machine. They don't bother about power. They don't bother about maintaining the machine. All this is provided in our complex, in our industrial development centers. And they come there, they come with their materials, they sew, we can help them to warehouse, and then we've signed innovative contracts where they can distribute locally. So with NIPOST, 15%, with God is Good Logistics, 20%. So what this does is that this is taking away from the burden of doing business in Nigeria. We understand that these are perilous times because we need to go through the tunnel to get to the light, right? But in going through the tunnel, we're not forgetting our small businesses, and the administration is not forgetting the small business. We're putting up this kind of innovation where we're helping to increase productivity, but also driving down the cost of doing business. So a small business in Wusetu or Kuje or Gwagwalada, all it needs to do is just to come and get a single-digit interest loan or get the grants. You get 50,000 naira. You go to Kuje Market, you buy materials, you come to Smeden, you just book a machine. You can book the machine for 12 hours. You sew, you cut, you pattern, you do the embroidery, and then you can take your product and go and sell to your family and friends or sell in the market if you have an opportunity. So these are ways that we're helping to make sure that even the products that are coming out of Nigeria, the standards are reaching global best practices in terms of packaging, in terms of production, to make sure that we can actually compete with our colleagues in the global market. Nigeria is very, 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 very big. These 39 million businesses, if we can get 1 million of them to be exported by 2027, the impact on our economy will be phenomenal. But what do we need to do as an agency, development agency for these small businesses, is to go in there, train them. So we're training month in, month out, training on global best practices, training on innovation, training on the best ways to make sure that your product is not rejected at the ports. We have a phenomenal handshake with Nigerian Customs Service to make sure that some of our small businesses, they can actually export within hours. So they don't have to spend time through our AEO program. They don't have to spend time at the port. When their business products get there, within hours, it's gone and it's gone to wherever the destination is. So those are some of the things that we're making sure to do to make sure that our small businesses are competitive, making sure that we support them to compete with their counterparts in Africa and in developed other countries.
Okay, the things you've just talked about, are they the interventions also? Because I guess you also have this intervention in agriculture, in education, and some other critical sector. But also, is there any conflict between the Smeden and something like the NDE? That is Nigeria, the NDE. Is there any conflict in your responsibility?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Nigeria, I think there's this focus on employment. We are the guys who are focused on the development of the MSME ecosystem. That sector that focuses on just approximately 40 million SMEs that are contributing to 50% of Nigeria's GDP. We want them to contribute to more. What we're doing is we are hand-holding them, in many cases formalizing them. NDE might not be very much informed with the formalization of the small businesses. We are in the nooks and crannies of Nigeria, meeting them in their cooperatives, meeting them individually, giving them the global best practices, giving them all the trainings that they need, giving them all the support, all the guidance, giving them all the resources, financial and non-financial, exposing them to all the opportunities, and then supporting their workforce to make sure that as small businesses, they can actually stay much longer. Because if you look at some disturbing statistics, that many of them die within the first 5 years of operations. Yeah. All the reasons why they die, we're addressing them. Power issue, you don't bother with power anymore if you're in the fashion sector, in the woodwork sector, in the cobbling sector. You just come into a Smithern office. You come there, all the resources are made available to you. You book a machine and you can use it. Resources, you don't need to crack your brain anymore. We provided financial resources, non-financial resources, all the guidance, the steps, the pros, the cons to running businesses in Nigeria. All these are provided. And with ND, CAC, NEPC, NIPC, these are sister agencies. There's a fine line between what everyone is doing. So at the point of registration for us, a small business, you can exist in society right now, but society does not know you. You don't have BVN, NIN, driver's license, international passport. Society does not know you. For society to know you, you have to register that. At registration for business is CAC. But we are also formalizing these businesses. They register with us. So when they register with us, we understand their peculiarities. Then we can go to say, CAC, okay, give us a discount for these businesses. We shake hands with them. We will now register them in CAC. Even though they are doing businesses, many of them are not registered with CAC, they register with us, and then we get them to be registered with CAC. So those are the kind of fine lines, handshakes that we do with our sister government agencies to make sure that everyone understands the role that they're playing to help into the development of SMEs.
Well, the tax reform bills, which is currently at the front burner, is at the National Assembly, and it's will soon be considered for public hearing, possibly after the consideration of the budget. Tell us how far-reaching are these reforms to impact the MSME sector that has already contributed 46% to the nation's GDP.
Thank you so much. So the tax reform bill, firstly, I want to thank everyone that's worked on that bill. Before then, we had some consultations, and then what we're doing right now is to actually advise our small businesses across 36 states and the FCT on the impact of that bill. What that bill simply does is that it eradicates all the nuisance taxes. If you ask a small business owner today, somebody is taxing them for the water that leaves their business, their restaurant, and going to the drainage system. Somebody is taxing them for radio and TV license. Somebody is taxing them for signages. So all of those taxes have been eradicated with this bill. So it's like we have just refined the tax system as one big body, but different departments. So it means that in the different states, they are like departments under the big body. So for the impact on the SMEs is three things. Number one, you don't have multiple people knocking on your door. Number two, this tax bill, upon ascension, will help to, right now, our nano and our micro businesses. Remember I said earlier, these are the guys that are doing less than 3 million, less than 25 million. They don't pay some level of taxes. That will be increased to 50 million. It means that some level of our small businesses still won't pay taxes. Right? So what does that mean? It means that they have some more money to be more productive, to add to the cost of doing business, and to reduce the cost of doing business, and to even export or take local demand. So if the small businesses don't have multiple people knocking down their doors, if the small businesses then do not pay as much taxes as before, it's a good thing for the MSME ecosystem. So those are the kind of things that we're doing to enlighten them, to say, listen, you have members of National Assembly who are representing you there. Let them know that this is something that is a good initiative for our small businesses in the 36 states and the FCT. So for us, we accept it. For us, we are hoping that it can be ascended as soon as possible so that small businesses can start to enjoy this and can continue to contribute more to Nigeria's GDP. And
how would you say Smithern is driving down the cost of doing business and providing them access to critical resources that they need?
So for these small businesses, one of the things I've explained, if you even, logistics is the heart of e-commerce. If you want to distribute anything in Nigeria today, we have signed innovative MOUs with NIPOS, 50% discount. God is good logistics, 20% discount. If you're in the fashion, textile, and 8 other sectors that we have identified, we're providing infrastructure. You don't bother about power. You don't bother about the machines. You don't bother about maintaining machines. We provided that. We've also jumped on the presidential CNG initiative. The presidential CNG initiative has afforded our small businesses to reduce the cost of doing business. So if you're even in the transport, right, you can come to a Smedan complex and then get your vehicle converted for free if you're a motorist, right? And those that are interested in CNG, they can come and learn how to help convert other people's vehicles. I say to people like, GSM was to President Obasanjo, CNG is to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And CNG is the way that we can help to reduce the cost of doing business. So we provided CNG infrastructure at Smedan. We provided other kind of infrastructure in 8 priority sectors that we have identified that small businesses are starting business in the most. So they happen to be in agriculture. For us, is Eat Nigeria. So that whole value chain, from the farm to the dining table, we are very much present. Providing our farmers with seedlings, providing our farmers with access to market, providing our farmers with the regulatory to make sure that their goods go from the market quickly to the consumer, or from the farm to the market. We are very much prevalent. We're in Nigeria, like what I'm wearing today. Everyone in the fashion, garment, textile can come into the Smedan complex. We launch in Katsina, we launch in Osun, we're launching at FCT. You can just come book a machine, sew your clothes, and go and sell.
Sorry to cut you there, just for you to expatiate on this. You're talking about you can come into a Smedan center. Now, those clusters, how close are they to the people? Somebody in the interior, probably it's in the state capital, so does he have to travel to the state capital to get access to that facility? You say he does not need to pay to bother about electricity. How?
So if you're already in an established cluster, one of the things that we do, we come there and we can support you. But if you are not in a cluster, like in the wholesale market right now, where there's some intervention that's going on with electricity and power, right? But if you're not in the wholesale market, you can come to the Smedan complex in Idu and then get access. You just need to book a machine. I want to use it for a while. This machine I want to sew for me 12 hours. You just book it at zero cost, and then you are there just doing your work. Afterwards, you want to distribute. You just come to us in that same complex. God is good is there to take out the thing. NIPOS is there to take out at a discounted rate. So all these things is just to help to reduce the ease of doing business, the cost of doing business, for our small business to be more productive, and by so doing, help to support Nigeria's GDP like we've been doing.
Very quickly, there have been several government policies. Take a look at the removal of fuel subsidy, the increase in electricity tariff, even the recent hike in tariff by the telecom companies. How is Smedan helping small businesses cope with the impact of this reforms?
The impact of this, we know that there are some necessary reforms that need to happen. So let's say band A, for instance, is what, 1,002. Diesel is 1,004, right? CNG is 250 naira. So one of the things that we're doing is we're helping our small businesses to embrace things like CNG, because it will help to reduce the cost of doing business. So if you're in logistics, for instance, if I want to go to Kaduna, which is about 108 kilometers, from Abuja to Kaduna, if I follow my car, to take me approximately, it would cost me approximately 100,000 naira. If I've converted a car to CNG, it will cost me less than 25,000 naira, or approximately 30,000 naira, to cover the same distance. So one of the things that we've understood is that, yes, we need to go through fuel subsidy removal, but the impact on that is this, by taking the shock absorber from them, providing them with alternatives. CNG is one of the alternatives. Providing them with infrastructure. The Smedan complex is where you can come in. It's never happened in Nigeria before. Where you come in, you just don't pay anything. You book a machinery, use the machinery, come to the woodwork factory, you don't pay anything. You book some time, produce your furniture, and then you can move your furniture to the market at discounted rates. It's never happened. And I give all the kudos to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for this initiative. Now imagine the impact in all of the 3 senatorial districts in all the states, or all the federal constituencies. We can now start to improve productivity for our small businesses. And then for local consumption and for exports, we can now see the impact that will have in Nigeria's economy.
Well, we must thank you so much for your time with us, DG Smeden, and we thank you for your contributions on the show. That's where we'll have to leave it today. Quite an interesting conversation there. Sure. Brighter days for MSMEs. If you are considering starting a business, I guess you should start now.
Yeah, I'm already looking at where my own cluster will be so that I can go there for that service.
Well, we'll be taking you back to our Lagos studio where Veronica and Ibrahim is standing by.
I'm wondering if there's a cluster in Lagos where I can join. That's my own question.
Of course, there is. And if there isn't one, I'm sure that the DJ will be bringing one to you.
He's listening, definitely he will get one closer to you.
Right. I'm also gunning for one. Just let us know as soon as you have the venue.
Okay.
Veronica, we're fighting over a slot now.
Anyway, thank you to Jesu and Esha Momo for that interview.